My Pure Mist, the only handheld steam inhaler providing 100% natural drug-free relief for your sinuses. Instant fine mist penetrates deep, washing away irritants and allergens, giving superb relief from inflammation and congestion caused by allergies, sinus infections, the common cold and flu. Press on and steam is instant. Since it's handheld, you can conveniently use it anywhere, anytime. Research shows 92% of My Pure Mist users could breathe better and sleep better with fewer symptoms.
I was addicted to nasal sprays for years. I'm loving the natural approach of My Pure Mist.
Avoid drug or nasal spray side effects. Why suffer? Get My Pure Mist at Target or Walgreens and get fast, natural relief today. My Pure Mist is available at Target, Walgreens, and other fine retailers. Join thousands of satisfied My Pure Mist users. Get My Pure Mist at Target today.
Nocturnal Animals from director Tom Ford. Rolling Stone raves. It's a haunting, twisted thriller. Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nobody gets away with what you did.
Nocturnal Animals. Rated R. Everywhere tomorrow.
Your path to retirement may not always be clear, but at T. Rowe Price, we can help guide your retirement savings. So wherever your retirement journey takes you, we can help you reach your goals. Call us or your advisor. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Or a sales event. The Season of Audi sales event is here. Audi will cover your first month's lease payment on select models during the Season of Audi sales event.
Pursuit is the longest success story in the golf commercial space. People recognize us by our #1 brands, titleist in the golf ball sector, FootJoy in both shoes and gloves. We've got over 5,000 associates in the world. Our listing is a testimony to what they've represented for the better part of 8 decades. Being listed on the NYSE gives us the best opportunity to align ourselves with institutional investors and begins a new chapter. Pushit Holdings is now listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Exchange more.
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer, and I finally found our big Idaho potato truck. It's been touring the country telling folks about our heart-healthy Idaho potatoes, America's favorite potatoes, and donating to local charities along the way. But now, it's finally back home where it belongs. Aw, man. Hey! Wait up! Where you going? Here we go again.
Family holiday party, how great. At least with DIRECTV from AT&T, you can download and watch your DVR shows anywhere. That makes you more powerful than your gene pool.
I'll trade you the candy cane for the eggnog. Deal.
Or Aunt Jaxie's lack of boundaries. Or Uncle Terry's overcommitment to holiday cheer.
Pretty good hunting place, gotta say.
Say that to the nanny cam.
It's your TV. Take it with you. Now you can watch your DVR anywhere at no extra cost with DIRECTV from AT&T.
New overnight. Donald Trump talks about his commitment to jobs, but 6 weeks before his inauguration, new questions about why he won't give up one of his own jobs, producing The Celebrity Apprentice.
Mourning the loss of an American legend, John Glenn, who took the space program to new heights before serving honorably in the U.S. Senate, has passed away. We're going to look back on his life and legacy. Welcome back to Early Start. Good morning. I'm Allison Cossack.
Nice to see you today. I'm John Berman. About 30 minutes after the hour, developing overnight. How is this for job sharing? Commander-in-Chief and reality show producer. New word this morning that Donald Trump will keep his title as executive producer of NBC's Celebrity Apprentice, even as he starts a different job as President of the United States. We'll have more on that in just a moment. First, the president-elect goes to Louisiana today, campaign for the Republican Senate candidate, and a runoff there. Then on to his next stop on his thank you tour. He goes to Michigan tonight. There's some new cabinet announcements to vet. He picked a labor secretary, and the president-elect is expected to name his pick for Secretary of State early next week. Overnight, Mr. Trump was in Iowa, promising to bring jobs back to the United States. CNN's Jeff Zeleny was there and has the very latest.
John and Allison, it has been 1 month since Donald Trump woke up on the morning after Election Day as the president-elect. Now on a victory lap, he goes to bat. Michigan heading to Louisiana today as well. But Donald Trump is trying to make good on his vow to change the government. He's trying to make good on his vow to drain the swamp. Still more showboating and showmanship than specifics here. This is what he told voters last night in Des Moines.
I actually love calling these companies. I said, give me a list of 10 companies that are leaving. And I actually love calling these companies and saying hi. And I get the president of this company. And I say, hi, how you doing? Oh, hello, Mr. President-elect. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. By the way, while we're on the phone, don't leave. Please don't leave. Please. And we've had great success. You'll be seeing a lot more success.
The speech widely applauded by his supporters here, also briefly interrupted by a few protesters. Donald Trump seemed to take it all in stride, a far different tone than we saw during the campaign. He said as they were led away, they're with us, they just don't know it yet. But John and Allison, that is the challenge and the burden for Donald Trump going forward here as he makes that pivot from campaigning to the governing realities. He's about finished naming his cabinet. I am told he's going to likely name his Secretary of State choice early next week. The cabinet will nearly be complete. Then a Supreme Court justice. Then he'll break for the holidays. In January is when it all begins. John and Allison.
Mr. Jeff Zeleny in Iowa. Meanwhile, this NBC reality show brought to you by the Commander-in-Chief. New word this morning that President-elect Trump will remain as executive producer of NBC's Celebrity Apprentice while he is in the White House. Trump hosted The Apprentice for 14 seasons, also Celebrity Apprentice, where Arnold Schwarzenegger takes over next month. A Trump spokeswoman told CNN that, quote, Mr. Trump has a big stake in the show and conceived of it with Mark Burnett. Burnett created the original Apprentice. It is not clear how much Trump will make as executive producer. Could be some, thousands of dollars per show. The arrangement does raise some serious questions about conflict of interest problems, not just for the president-elect, but also for NBC, which will be airing a Trump-produced show while its news division reports on him.
I don't think he's concerned with the optics of it. It's not illegal.
No.
He can do it. It's just unprecedented. We haven't had a president who's been this wealthy and had his hand in so many different types of businesses.
It continues to be interesting to me. Donald Trump himself announced on Twitter he's going to hold a news conference December 15th to explain how he's separating himself from his businesses. And while we wait for that news conference, we learn about more ways that he's not separating himself from his businesses. So we'll have to wait and see what he says.
All right. Donald Trump will nominate Andrew Putzer for Labor Secretary. A source close to the decision is telling CNN. Putzer is the CEO of CKE Restaurants, which owns Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Now, he opposes a $15 minimum wage, but he's okay with a smaller increase from the current federal rate of $7.25 an hour. Now, he's been an outspoken critic of Obamacare. He's blasted new overtime rules, which would extend the pay to more workers. Putzer is credited with turning around fast food chain Hardee's since he took over as CEO in 2000, but it was forced to pay out $9 million to settle 3 class action lawsuits involving overtime pay. The company has been criticized recently for its commercials, that you see here, some which feature women in bikinis eating burgers. Putzer told CNN Money last year he thinks the ads are American and there's nothing wrong with them. Listen to this.
Putzer's appointment, we should say, requires Senate confirmation. As Labor Secretary, he would oversee the U.S. job market, regulate workplaces, produce stats like the unemployment rate that underpin the U.S. economy, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Also, look, Donald Trump frequently says he doesn't believe the unemployment numbers. Well, his own bureau is going to be producing those unemployment numbers. We'll see how he feels about them then. All right, Hillary Clinton, she calls fake news a dangerous epidemic. At an event honoring retired Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid, Clinton spoke out against blatantly false stories that masquerade as news, and she backed new laws to fight foreign propaganda. She apparently was referring to alleged Russian meddling in the last election. Now, Secretary Clinton did not mention Pizzagate. That's the completely bogus, false, made-up, full of lies story that Clinton and her campaign chair ran a child sex ring out of a Washington pizza shop, but her remarks seemed to address the shots fired at the restaurant by a man bent on what he said self-investigating the story.
The epidemic of malicious fake news and false propaganda that flooded social media over the past year It's now clear that so-called fake news can have real-world consequences. This isn't about politics or partisanship. Lives are at risk. Lives of ordinary people just trying to go about their days, to do their jobs, contribute to their communities. It's a danger that must be addressed, and addressed quickly.
All right, let's dig in deep and break down the latest on the Trump transition and bring in CNN politics reporter Tal Kopin live this morning in Washington. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to talk more about Andrew Putzer. He, for one, he's obviously being nominated for labor secretary. He's a vocal critic of government regulation. He opposes the $15 minimum wage and broader overtime pay for workers, not to mention he's a millionaire. So keeping that in mind and the wealthy array of people that Donald Trump is putting into his cabinet, he tried to defend that at his rally in Iowa. Listen to this.
By the way, some of the people I put on to negotiate, you've been noticing, are some of the most successful people in the world. And one newspaper criticized me. Why can't they have people of modest means? Because I want people that made a fortune. Because now they're negotiating with you. Okay? It's no different than a great baseball player or a great golfer. I mean, we want the people that are going to bring, and they're so proud to do it. These people have given up fortunes of income in order to make $1 a year.
And he's talking about himself there. Does he make a point there, though? You don't want, people who aren't successful taking these high-level positions.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard this a lot. Social media is a beautiful thing, and we get to hear directly from the voters sometime. And I've heard a lot of why shouldn't he appoint successful people for some of these posts? There is a concern always, how did these people make their money? I think we're going to hear a lot of those questions in Senate confirmation hearings. I'm told that Senate Democrats are especially going to be looking at some of the financial disclosure forms that are required to be filed by every cabinet nominee, every administration. Those forms are going to get a very close look from some of these billionaires and millionaires that are being appointed to the cabinet, very scrutinized for conflict of interest because, of course, Democrats can't take on Donald Trump directly on that issue. And so we're going to see that play out a lot with some of the cabinet secretaries. And, Democrats are going to get a chance to ask that question. Success is one thing, but is there a problem when our government is too staffed with people who are independently wealthy and not necessarily with people who have sort of worked sort of real life situations? So I think that we're going to see this air out quite a bit when these people come up for confirmation.
Yeah, the Democrats will get to ask a lot of sternly worded questions, but they don't have the power to stop or block any of these appointments. What's interesting, Tal, to me, is that some people have looked at the Trump presidency, the incoming Trump administration. They say Donald Trump is the first post-ideological president. Yet, at least some of his cabinet picks in key departments are seen as highly ideological. Betsy DeVos going to lead the education department. She is seen as someone who's ideological in education, very pro-charter schools, pro-voucher. You have the EPA, incoming EPA Chief Scott Pruitt, a guy who wants to, has been suing the EPA, a climate science denier. It's interesting that Donald Trump has chosen in at least some of these departments to pick people that appeal very much to the ideological wing of the Republican Party.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conservative base is very pleased with the majority of these cabinet picks, and even the ones that maybe aren't necessarily, as ideological, they recognize as people who are sort of designed to get particular things done. And so, when you do look at, nominating someone for EPA who has directly taken on the EPA with legal action, challenging many of the Obama administration regulations, that's exactly the type of thing that a lot of the people advising the Donald Trump transition have been calling for years. They love the idea of a secretary who can sort of dismantle a lot of what they have called overreach from the Obama administration. So I guess in some ways it's surprising if Donald Trump was seen as possibly moderating once he gets in office, but we're still going to have to see what policies these people pursue, even if they sort of have tendencies in that direction.
What about the critics that are pointing to the fact that Donald Trump is nominating too many generals to his cabinet post? Some may say that everybody's making too much of a big deal about this, that it's actually advantageous because those in the military are more thoughtful and deliberate about decision-making, whether it's about immigration or terrorism.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, being a general in the military is a huge management task, and so in some ways that does sort of serve as a preparation for perhaps running a cabinet. You see a lot of generals go into sort of defense contracting in the business world when they do retire, so we see them go into that way. But you know, the big question that people are raising is the premise of civilian control of our government, and you know, the reason that there is a law prohibiting an active duty military member from serving as defense secretary for 7 years after they retire, which would have to be waived for General Mattis, is the idea of civilian control of the military. And so that's why people are asking big questions, is does this give too much military power in the cabinet?
Tal Copeland, great to see you this morning. Have a fantastic weekend.
Bye, Tal.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, millions around the world talking about the contributions of John Glenn this morning. What an impact this man made on this country. So many reasons to be thankful for him.
It's the holidays at Verizon, and the best deals are on the best network.
Yes!
With no surprise overages, you can use your data worry-free, and even carry over the data you don't use. And right now, get 4 lines and 20 gigs for only $40 per line. And just for the holidays, get the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge for only $15 per month. No trade-in required.
I love you in that. No, I love you in that. No, I love you in that.
Hurry, these offers end soon. Get the best deals and the best network only on Verizon.
What makes this simple salad the best simple salad ever? Heart-healthy California walnuts. The best simple veggie dish ever. Heart-healthy California walnuts. The best simple dinner ever? Heart-healthy California walnuts. Great tasting, heart-healthy California walnuts. So simple. Get the recipes at walnuts.org.
Audiences are raving about nocturnal animals.
What are we gonna do? See justice done. Nobody gets away with what you did. That way.
Nocturnal Animals. Rated R. Everywhere tomorrow.
I have asthma. One of many pieces in my life. So when my asthma symptoms kept coming back on my long-term control medicine, I talked to my doctor and found a missing piece in my asthma treatment with Brio.
Once daily Brio prevents asthma symptoms. Brio's for adults with asthma not well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Brio won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Brio opens up airways to help improve breathing for a full 24 hours. Brio contains a type of medicine that increases the risk of death from asthma problems and may increase the risk of hospitalization in children and adolescents. Brio is not for people whose asthma is well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Once your asthma is well controlled, your doctor will decide if you can stop Brio and prescribe a different asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Do not take Brio more than prescribed. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse.
Ask your doctor if 24-hour Brio could be a missing piece for you. See if you're eligible for 12 months free at mybrio.com.
At Clorox 2, we've turned removing stains into a science.
Now pre-treat with Clorox 2.
Watch stains disappear right before your eyes. Remove 4 times more stains than detergent alone.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-888-909-4332.
People ask me all the time, George, what do I do with my idea for a new product? I tell them, call my friends at InventHelp.
Call for free information.
I've always thought of Chicago in terms of a family.
Now more than ever, the history of Chicago. New Year's Day at 8 p.m. Eastern on...
See me.
See me.
Don't stare at me.
See me.
See me.
See me to know that psoriasis is just something that I have.
I'm not contagious.
See me to know that I won't stop until I find what works.
Discover Cosentix, a different kind of medicine for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, proven to help the majority of people find clear or almost clear skin. 8 out of 10 people saw 75% skin clearance at 3 months, while the majority saw 90% clearance. Do not use if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, you should be tested for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Or if you have received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
See me. See me. See me on my way.
Find clear skin and a clearer path forward. For a different kind of medicine, ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
The 10th Annual CNN Heroes All-Star Tribute, live Sunday night at 8.
Engine start. May the wheelers be with you, Thomas. Good Lord, ride all the way. Godspeed, John Glenn.
Tributes pouring in from across the planet for space pioneer and former Ohio Senator John Glenn. The trailblazing Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth, changing the course of the space race in 1962. But Glenn had already made a name for himself in the sky. He was a Navy test pilot and flew nearly 150 missions in World War II and Korea and broke the transcontinental speed record, flying from Los Angeles to New York in 1957. Glenn never traveled to the moon after his friend, then President John F. Kennedy, ordered NASA not to fly him, fearing for his safety. He later did serve 4 terms in the U.S. Senate, though, representing Ohio, beginning in 1974.
Now, Glenn did eventually get back to space in 1998. He was 77 years old, the oldest astronaut ever. He was awarded the Congressional Space Medal of Honor in 1978, the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. Honestly, there aren't enough awards for a life like John Glenn's. In a statement on Thursday, President Obama said John always had the right stuff. Of course, there was the movie The Right Stuff, which dealt with the Mercury astronauts, inspiring generations of scientists, engineers, and astronauts who will take us to Mars and beyond. The last of America's first astronauts has left us, but propelled by their example, we know that our future here on Earth compels us to keep reaching for the heavens. On behalf of a grateful nation, Godspeed, John Glenn. Now, before heading back into space for his second trip, Glenn spoke about his emotions before his first flight. Listen to this.
We used to joke about it in the past when people would say, what do you think about on the launch pad? And the standard answer was, how do you think you'd feel if you knew you were on top of 2 million parts built by the lowest bidder on a government contract?
John Glenn is survived by his wife of 73 years, Annie. They have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. A private burial with full military honors is planned at Arlington National Cemetery. John Glenn was 95 years young. You know, it's actually amazing to sit and talk about all of his accomplishments. It's the stuff that dreams are made of, and he lived it. And he's got this legacy where he's got friends and a fellow astronaut speaking so favorably of him, saying he was a consummate professional, a leader to the highest caliber, and a genuinely nice man.
24 years in the U.S. Senate as a second career,
right,
after being the first
Talk about
American
job sharing.
To orbit the Earth. I'm really someone who made a difference here, and what more can you ask for?
All right, let's take a look at what's coming up on New Day. Good morning, Allison Camerata.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday. Great to see you. So why is the president-elect going to be the executive producer of The Apprentice on this coming season? We're going to have Kellyanne Conway, one of his top advisors, on to talk about that. And if you saw New Day yesterday, you saw Chris and me get into a heated exchange about climate change. Why is it so hard to talk about climate change without it devolving into a shouting match? This morning, we have on a scientist who has been steeped in this stuff for 50 years. He has a suggestion for how to bring both sides together. And Chris is reading a book I got for him. What is it, Chris? Overcoming Aggression. We're going to have the author on this morning.
It's after Overcoming Passive Aggression is what Congressman Tim Murphy and his co-author wrote about.
But I crossed that
She
part
modified
out.
it for me.
I took that chapter
That's
out, just
awesome.
aggression.
He just finished 50 Shades of Grey, so now he needs a new good book. So
right.
Recommended by
fantastic.
JB.
That's right. He did my earmarked copy.
I think you may need a pair of boxing gloves for that segment. I'll be watching.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Bare fisted, like a man.
Do your show.
Were you reading 50 Shades of Grey at some point?
No. It's all good.
If you say so. All right, the Dow is one big rally away from a milestone that seemed untouchable just a few months ago. We're going to tell you what that is and show you the big winners that are probably part of your 401k when we get a check on CNN Money Stream next.
It's the big is like crazy.
time is here. So let me hold you near to keep you warm through these cold, cold days, my dear.
Fireworks of flavor! Fireworks of flavor? My lips get so dried and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's Lip Repair. All-day moisture in one use, and guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked lips. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my lips back.
At Planners, we know how to throw a remarkable holiday party. Just serve classy snacks. Be a gracious host, no matter who shows up.
Do you like nuts? At Jared, we turn feelings into jewelry. Jewelry that tells her she's the best thing that's ever happened to you in a way that goes beyond words. It could be a piece jewelry designers created just for Jared, or a piece we custom made just for you. Because we're more than a store that sells beautiful jewelry. We are jewelers. The one unique gift that tells her exactly how you feel. That's why he went to Jared. Nocturnal Animals from director Tom Ford.
You know you're supposed to stop when there's an accident.
We should call the police.
Nobody, this is what you did. Buddy. Nocturnal Animals, rated R. It's time to warm up the holidays with the Joseph A. Bank Great Sweater Gift Sale. Now all sweaters in our entire stock are on sale, including all cotton sweaters, now 3 for just $99. Plus buy one, get one free. The Great Sweater Gift Sale, only at Joseph A. Bank.
I'm so happy you're co-hosting CNN Heroes. It's our 10th anniversary, and we've got 10 amazing everyday people who are changing the world.
I sat with my mother-in-law on the sofa, and she was sobbing the entire time, and she was saying, "Oh, Kelly, please tell Anderson. He's such a wonderful person for bringing these heroes to light." She thinks you gave birth to the heroes, just so you know.
Yeah, no, they do it all on their own.
The 10th annual CNN Heroes All-Star Tribute, live Sunday night at 8 on CNN.
When I was playing ball, they called me the Big Hurt. But after I left the game, Mother Nature started putting a big hurt on me. I just couldn't stay in shape like I used to. Turns out, it wasn't my fault. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that makes it harder to get in shape. But luckily, I found out about Nugenics.
Nugenics is a unique man-boosting formula powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help boost your free testosterone levels.
Thanks to Nugenics, I'm really getting after it again.
Now you too can feel stronger, leaner, with a lot more energy and drive. Nugenics is so effective it won GNC's Innovative Product of the Year and is GNC's #1 selling men's vitality product.
And guys, she'll like the difference too.
Get a complimentary bottle now by texting PEP to 369-369. Nugenics samples are not available in stores, so text PEP to 369-369 now.
New day. The most news in the morning. Up next on CNN.
New revelations this morning in connection with that deadly warehouse fire in Oakland, California, which claimed the lives of 36 people. In an exclusive interview, Oakland Fire Chief Teresa DeLoach Reed tells CNN she does not know the last time or even if the building was ever inspected by her department. She says the city's fire inspection teams have been hampered by years of budget cuts and hiring freezes. The chief says her team is still combing through the records, but says it is possible the so-called ghost ship, which sat vacant for years, may not have even been in the city's database. The mayor announcing just this week a task force to assess fire safety in Oakland to make sure lessons are learned from this tragedy.
Fire-ravaged Gatlinburg, Tennessee, getting back on its feet. Businesses that were unscathed by the deadly wildfires are set to reopen in just a few hours. Store owners on the tourist strip, they've been cleaning, painting, doing all they can. They're trying to get shoppers back. The deadly wildfires that ripped through the Smoky Mountains, they killed at least 14 people, destroyed more than 1,700 buildings.
All right, let's get a check on CNN Money Stream this morning. The explosive post-election rally continues to push stocks into uncharted territory. The Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq all hitting record highs Thursday, and just about every part of the market is getting a Trump bump. Nearly 3/4 of the stocks in the S&P 500 are up since November 8th. About half of those winners have gained at least 10%, and the big winners are the big banks. Check out these gains. Bank of America up 35% since the election. Goldman Sachs rising 32%. Morgan Stanley is gaining 27%. And despite the major fake account scandal that plagued Wells Fargo, well, guess what? Wells Fargo is up almost 26% over the past month. Not too shabby. Fueling the gains there are the prospects of less regulation, lower taxes, and higher interest rates. So the Dow is getting real close to a major milestone. It's now just 385 points away from 20,000. Gosh, it's been an incredible ending for a strong year for stocks. The week before the election, check this out, the Dow was below 18,000. And looking back to earlier this year, the average was below 16,000 as oil prices crashed. Now, we could see more gains today. We are seeing Dow futures ticking just slightly higher, but S&P futures are lower. Stock markets in Europe and Asia are mixed. Donald Trump says he sold all of his stocks in June, so he missed the recent rally, but maybe not entirely, because in May, we found out some information. He had filed a financial disclosure form showing his financial holdings, and it showed a pretty diversified mix. Part of it was 50% of his holdings, or $85 million, was held by hedge funds. So if he hasn't sold these positions, this could present many potential conflicts of interest, not only with the stocks these hedge funds invest in, but also with the people who run these funds. Some donated to his campaign or have close ties to his cabinet picks like Treasury Secretary nominee and former Goldman Sachs partner Steve Mnuchin. So let me say this. Check out this new CNN Money Stream app. It's business news personalized, the stories, videos, tweets, and topics you want all in one feed. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
So it's interesting because the Trump team has said that he sold his individual stock holdings, but they haven't made clear about the hedge fund holdings that actually represent a much larger chunk of the portfolio.
The Trump camp let us know a few days ago that he sold all his stocks, but his disclosure form showed he had these hedge funds. It showed he had bonds. He's got gold holdings. We don't know yet if he sold that or what happened with that. So
it'll be interesting to find out again. Donald Trump has said on December 15th he's going to tell us about disentangling from his business ties. Right. But again, since he told us that he was going to have that speech, we've learned more ways there is not disentangling.
But not disentangling from Celebrity Apprentice.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
All right, that's all for Early Start. Thanks for being with us this morning. I'm Allison Kosick.
I'm John Berman. Donald Trump, he promises to bring U.S. jobs, but does that mean remaining as executive producer of The Celebrity Apprentice? New Day starts right now.
The enemy's pretty tough, right? So I think we need some tough people.
The people he is picking is, quite frankly, scary.
The enemy's pretty tough, right? So I think we need some tough people.